You see somebody outside? Who outside? T in the word. Did you pray this morning? I pray in this word. 18. Today got Acts chapter 7, verse 1 through 22. Deuteronomy 29 and 30, and Job 18. Acts 7, 1 through 22. Stephen addresses the High Council. Oh, I put my glasses on. Good morning. Stephen addresses the High Councils, Acts 7, chapter 1 through 22. Then the high priest asked Stephen, "Are these accusations true?" This was Stephen's reply. "Our brothers and honorable fathers, listen to me. Our glorious God appeared to our ancestors Abraham in the Mesopotamia before he moved to Haran. God told him, 'Leave your native land and your relatives and come to the land that I will show you.' So Abraham left the land of the Chaldeans and lived in Haran until his father died. Then God brought him here to the land where you now live. But God gave him no inheritance here, not even 1 square foot of land. God did promise, however, that eventually the whole country would belong to Abraham and his descendants, though he had no children yet. But God also told him that his descendants would live in a foreign country where they would be mistreated as slaves for 400 years. But I will punish the nation that enslaves them. God told him, and in the end, they will come out and worship me in this place. God also gave Abraham the covenant of circumcision at that time. And so Isaac, Abraham's son, was circumcised when he was 8 days old. Isaac became the father of Jacob, and Jacob was the father of 12 patriarchs of the Jewish nations. Patriarchs. I couldn't get that word out for nothing. 12 patriarchs of the Jewish nations. These sons of Jacob were very jealous of their brother Joseph, and they sold him into slavery, sold him to be a slave in Egypt. But God was with him and delivered him from his anguish, and God gave him favor before Pharaoh, king of Egypt. God also gave Joseph unusual wisdom, so that Pharaoh appointed him governor over all Egypt and put him in charge of all the affairs of the palace. But a famine came upon Egypt and Canaan. There was great misery for our ancestors, and they ran out of food. Jacob heard that there was still grain in Egypt, so he sent his sons to buy some. The second time they went, Joseph revealed his identity to his brothers, and they were introduced to Pharaoh. Then Joseph sent for his father, Jacob, and all his relatives to come to Egypt, 75 persons in all. So Jacob went to Egypt. He died there, and did all his sons. All of them were taken to Shechem and buried in the tomb Abraham had bought from the sons of Hamor and Shechem. As the time drew near when God would fulfill his promise to Abraham, the number of our people in Egypt greatly increased. But then a new king came to the throne of Egypt who knew nothing about Joseph. This king plotted against our people and forced parents to abandon their newborn babies so they would die. At that time, Moses was born, a beautiful child in God's eyes. His parents cared for him at home for 3 months, when at last they had to abandon him. Pharaoh's daughter found him and raised him as her own son. Moses was taught all the wisdoms of the Egyptians, became mighty in both speech and action. That's Acts chapter 7, 1 through 22. Deuteronomy 29 and 30. Then Job 18. Deuteronomy 29. These are the terms of the covenant the Lord commanded Moses to make with the Israelites while they were in the land of Moab, in addition to the covenant he made with them in Mount Sinai. Moses reviews the covenant. Moses summoned all the Israelites and said to them, "You have seen with your own eyes everything the Lord did in Egypt to Pharaoh and all his servants, in his whole country, all the great tests and strengths, the miraculous signs and amazing wonders. But to this day the Lord has not given you minds that understand, nor eyes that see, nor ears that hear. For 40 years I led you through the wilderness, yet your clothes and sandals did not wear out. You had no bread or wine or other strong drink, but he gave you food so you would know that he is the Lord your God. When we came here, King Shion of Heshbon and King Og of Bashan came out to fight against us, but we defeated them. We took their land and gave it to the tribes of Reuben and Gad and the half a tribe of Manasseh as their inheritance. Therefore, obey the terms of this covenant so that you will prosper in everything you do. All of you, your tribal leaders, your judges, your officers, and all of the men of Israel standing today before the Lord your God, with your little ones, your wives, and the foreigners living among you who chop your wood and carry your water. You are standing here today to enter into a covenant with the Lord your God. The Lord is making this covenant with you today, and he has sealed it with an oath. He wants to confirm you today as his people and to confirm that he is your God. He is, just as he promised you and as he swore to your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But you are not the only ones with whom the Lord is making this covenant with this obligation. The Lord your God is making this covenant with you who stand in his presence today, and also with all the future generations of Israel. Surely remember how we lived in the land of Egypt and how we traveled through the lands of enemies' nations as we left. You have seen detestable idols made of wood, stone, silver, and gold. The Lord made this covenant with you so that no man, woman, family, or tribe among you would turn away from the Lord your God to worship these gods of other nations, and so that no root among you would bear bitter poisonous fruit. Let none of those who hear this warning or this curse consider themselves immune, thinking I am safe, even though I am walking in my own stubborn way. This would lead to utter ruin. The Lord will not pardon such people. His anger and jealousy will burn against them. All the curses written in this book will come down on them, and the Lord will erase their names from under heaven. The Lord will separate them from all the tribes of Israel, to pour out on them all the covenant curses recorded in this book of law. Then the generations to come, both your own descendants and foreigners who have come from distant lands, will see the devastation of the land and the disease the Lord will send against it. They will find its soil turned into sulfur and salt, with nothing planted and nothing growing, not even a blade of grass. It will be just like Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah and Zebulun, which the Lord destroyed in his anger. The surrounding nations will ask, why has the Lord done this to this land? Why was he so angry? And they will be told, this happened because the people of the land broke the covenant they made with the Lord, the God of their ancestors, when he brought them out of the land of Egypt. They turned to serve and worship other gods that were foreign to them, gods that the Lord had not designated for them. That is why the Lord's anger burned against this land, bringing down on it all the curses recorded in this book. In great anger and fury, the Lord uprooted his people from their land and exiled them to another land where they still live today. There are secret things that belong to the Lord our God, but the revealed things belong to us and our descendants forever, so that we may obey these words of law. That was Deuteronomy 29. We got Deuteronomy 30. Then Job 18. A call to return to the Lord. Suppose all these things happen to you. The blessings and the curses I have listed, and you meditate on them as you are living among the nations to which the Lord your God has exiled you. If at that time you return to the Lord your God, and you and your children begin wholeheartedly to obey all the commands I have given you today, the Lord your God will restore your fortunes. He will have mercy on you and gather you back from all the nations where he has scattered you. Though you are at the ends of the earth, the Lord your God will go and find you and bring you back again. He will return you to the land that belongs to your ancestors, and you will possess that land again. He will make you even more prosperous and numerous than your ancestors. The Lord your God will cleanse your hearts and the hearts of all your descendants, so that you will love him with all your heart and soul, and you may live. The Lord your God will inflict all of these curses on your enemies and persecutors. Then you will again obey the Lord and keep all the commands I'm giving you today. The Lord your God will make you successful in everything you do. He will give you many children and numerous livestock for your fields and produce abundant harvest, for the Lord will delight in being good to you as he was to your ancestors. The Lord your God will delight in you if you obey his voice and keep the commands of the law and laws written in this book of law. And if you turn to the Lord your God with all your heart and soul. The choice of life or death. This command I'm giving you today is not too difficult for you to understand or perform. It is not up in heaven, so distant that you must ask, who will go to heaven and bring it down so we can hear and obey it? It is not beyond the sea so far that you must ask, who will cross the sea to bring it to us so we can hear and obey it? This message is very close at hand. It is on your lips and in your heart so that you can obey it. Now listen, today I am giving you a choice between prosperity and disaster, between life and death. I have commanded you today to love the Lord your God and to keep his commands and laws and regulations by walking in his ways. If you do this, you will live and become a great nation, and the Lord your God will bless you and the land you are about to enter and occupy. But if your heart turns away and you refuse to listen, and if you are drawn away to serve and worship other gods, then I warn you now that you will certainly be destroyed. You will not live a long, good life in the land you are crossing the Jordan to occupy. Today I have given you the choice between life and death, between blessings and curses. I call on heaven and earth to witness the choice you make, or that you would choose life, that you and your descendants might live. Choose to love the Lord your God and obey him and commit yourself for him, for he is saving your life. Then you will live long in the land the Lord swore to give your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Deuteronomy 30. Finishing up in Job 18. Bildad's second response to Job. Then Bildad, the Shunammite, replied, "How long before you stop talking? Speak sense if you want us to answer. Do you think we are cattle? Do you think we have no intelligence? You may tear your hair out in anger, but that will cause the earth to be. Will that cause the earth to be abandoned? Will it make rocks fall from the cliff? The truth remains that the light of the wicked will be snuffed out. The sparks of their fire will not glow. The light in their tent will grow dark. The lamp hanging above them will be quenched. The confident stride of the wicked will be shortened. Their own schemes will be their downfall. The wicked will walk into a net. They will fall into a pit that has been dug in the path. A trap grabs them by the heels. A noose tightens around them. A snare lies hidden in the ground. A rope lies coiled on their path. Terror surround the wicked and trouble them at every step. Their vigor is depleted by hunger, and calamity awaits them to stumble. This disease eats their skin, devours their limbs. Death devours their limbs. They are torn from their security of their tent, and they are brought down to the kings of terror. Their home of the wicked will disappear beneath a fiery barrage of burning sulfur. Their roots will dry up, and their branches will wither. All memory of their existence will perish from the earth. No one will remember them. They will be thrust from light into darkness, driven from the world. They will have neither children nor grandchildren, nor any survivors in their home country. People in the West are appalled at their fate. People in the East are horrified. They will say, this was the home of a wicked person, the place of one who rejected God. Job 18. Whew. Stay blessed. Prayers to all of us. Amen.